Saudi Arabia is a very exciting place to be in at the moment, for sure. And with me here is a group of very distinguished panelists from giant entities to explore the food and beverage investment opportunities in Saudi Arabia. I'd like to start by talking about Vision 2030. Saudi Arabia Vision 2030 aims at creating a vibrant society in which all citizens can thrive and pursue their passions. On the economic front, Saudi is transforming its economy away from dependence on oil and one that is highly diversified, and as such there are massive investments going into infrastructure, industry, logistics, tourism, to just count a few. Without further ado, I'd like to engage our experts, and I want to start by asking Andrey, as the expert in research, about what are the major consumer trends in Saudi Arabia at the moment.
Right. Thank you, and once again, hi everyone. Thank you for having me again during this great panel discussion. A couple of points from my side. I think you've seen today during my presentation when I mentioned about a marginal growth across many food and beverages categories for the industry overall in Saudi Arabia, and certainly consumption is not getting any better. And what we see that consumers, they are implementing some saving tactics for sure. They're weighting up the attributes which matters the most when they go in and buying the product. Around 30% of shoppers, they sort of refocusing on the brands and categories even which they're buying. But what is the really positive, and for me it's one of the sort of more future type of indication of the opportunity, Saudi shopper have less recession mindset comparing to any other country in the world. Okay? Like if you compare, for instance, Saudi Arabia with Egypt, in Saudi it's only 40% of shoppers have the recession mindset. In Egypt it's going to be close to 60. In UK or Germany it's going to be 80, 85. And we will continue. But for me, again, this is a very positive sign. This is number one. Number two, focusing on different formats of the stores in Saudi Arabia. We see that convenience getting the rise. And convenience, it's not just only about the shop which given the best price as a discounters. Convenience, it's the shop which can give the range of the assortment which requires in this area where exactly those group of the people living, as well as, of course, it's just can be the everyday low price on top, but also sort of geographical proximity, meaning that how close the shop to the where people are living. And I think we see that this channel growing double digit, and certainly it will continue growing this growth. Online, I already mentioned the big traction of online business overall across the region, and Saudi is the one of the market. Every single retailer with whom I met during the last couple of weeks in Jeddah and Riyadh, they put e-commerce as the one of the biggest priority for the future growth. And I think the last but not least, I would like to maybe finish on a trends focusing on the experience. Definitely, as you can see, Saudi shopper trying to find the saving tactics. They also sort of trying to find the products which can give them everything and all of those benefits, and at the same time on the best price. But when we go deeper and when we look at the shopper from the perspective of what they're ready to compromise, and I can tell you, more than 70% of the shoppers saying that they're never going to compromise quality. They're never going to compromise shopping experience. They're never going to compromise servicing. That's why, like, when we look at everything which is going and all of the pressure which shoppers coming and going through, we always need to remember that it's not just only about the price. There is something else. And certainly this something else related to the journey. And only journey can bring and keep the memories. And I think the last, if I have 20 seconds, recently I visited one of the I would say, premium hypermarkets in one of our country. I'm not going to name the country, but in one of our country. And I wanted to buy like 2 oranges because my wife asked me to buy 2 oranges. And on the way, I see that big hypermarkets. I stopped by, I went inside, grabbed those 2 oranges, going to cashier, and guess what? I have to weigh them. And they're telling me that, okay, you have to go back, and this is a hypermarket, I'm going back. It's great for my steps. Certainly, it's amazing for my steps. But is it good for my shopping experience? But in the end of the day, I paid for those 2 oranges. I'm not going to make a name currency. I will say $2. Therefore, you can see that it's quite expensive. But for my experience, I'm not sure that certain of it stick for the longer time. That's why I believe that price is important, but there are some other factors which we also have to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrey. Perhaps we get a perspective also on the consumer trends from Yuliia as the head of marketing in one of the largest global food providers in the world. What are you seeing?
Thank you, Ahmed. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here as a part of this panel. I completely echo everything that Andrey said. We also at BRF take consumer-centric approach very seriously. We do a lot of studies. We study consumers and understand their behavior in depth. And in our view, the major growing demand will be convenience. And here we are talking about a population that is very young, that is very promising. More than half of Saudi's population is under age of 30. And of course, this is where a lot of opportunities related to convenience rely, and we need to approach it in a holistic way. It goes much beyond the product because we need to deliver convenience through pre-packed, pre-chopped products, but we also need to deliver very pleasant packaging experience. So repackaging is very, very important. We need to adapt our products to new and smart cooking gadgets like air fryer, for example, and of course, as Andrey mentioned, this experience needs to be pleasant. So online experience is definitely something is growing, and I think us as an industry, we really need to drive this major convenience to the consumers in Saudi forward.
Great, and it's also important to get the perspective of the food giant of Saudi Arabia, Almarai. Brother Mohammed here, what do you see as the key trends that you guys observe in addition to what was said earlier?
طيب السلام عليكم. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I hope that with my colleagues will add a lot of value to the whole audience. Now, to complement what my colleagues was saying, and I want to take what Yuliia was ending about the population. So you talk about 60% is less than 30 years old, and you talk about women that in the last 4 years they went to work, and then more than 33% of women are working, and that wasn't be before overall. We talk about elderly now become elder, so that's why there is a new group of people. They were not being in Saudi before, but now because of the age going up, there are so many within the age. If we look at it, there are so many things that we can take and take a conclusion out of that overall. Now, convenient is a point, and there is also a tourism and food service where it's really expanding. That comes from convenient people working more. You have a young population, they start to work, they have money, they want to spend overall, and that's why we see a huge trend happening in the last couple of years where the B2B and the expansion within the food service is becoming bigger and bigger. Then the question, how I'm approaching it. How it's not, for example, one fit all. How are we gonna approach the market, those segments, and what I'm really adding value to the customer and consumer when it comes to that. And then it moves, quality is important, trusted brand is important, but also the solution, providing solutions, whether for the food service sector or to the consumer overall. I want somebody to give me a solution. Somebody give me more benefits.
That's a very valid point. I mean, the kingdom has huge ambitions in the tourism sector. It aims to increase Hajj and Umrah visitors to over 37 million annually by 2030, increase the total visitors to Saudi Arabia to over 100 million visitors by 2030, this is going to have massive ramifications on the size of the opportunity. And Angelo, what do you think from a food service point of view, the way into this opportunity?
Yeah. Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum. Look, I've been in Saudi more than 1 year, and I think it reminds me UAE 15 years ago at the speed of work. Nobody would expect what's happened in Saudi. It's like this. I can tell you many people around the region now they want to go to Saudi because they see the dynamic inspired by the Crown Prince. Now the trend, you notice, for example, the FSR, the full service restaurant, is the majority in the hospitality and is getting upgraded. It's no longer just a normal restaurant, that now the food, the dining itself, the fine dining is upscaling. You can see if you go to Riyadh or you go to Jeddah, you not recognize the offering that they make. Don't forget, Saudi is a country of full culture, of gastronomy. And today they attract even the local food, they go for the full fine dining. And they don't give up. You know, it's not, in the market, it's not the international brand who is the leader. It's the local brand. And they try to franchise themselves. And they are really good upskill. When you go for the KSA, of course, you know, because of the population, I mean, all the international chain was there, but the local as one give hard time to international brand. Al-Baik, for example, is, I think if you compare with KFC or other brand, Al-Baik, I think they are at the top. You ask any Saudi or even expat, you want to have a quick, the top of the mind is Al-Baik. It will not come for another brand. But what I most admire is the growing of the coffee shop. This is standalone coffee is the fast growing channel in Saudi when it comes for coffee. It's not Starbucks, it's not Costa. Really, it's all independent. The difference between, if I have to make a comparison between UAE and Saudi, is the independent standalone company who is growing fast and has the agility to adapt themselves faster than the international brand. But to follow all my friends, here is the population, the structure of the population changed drastically. 63% of the population are below 33 years old. The average from the census itself, the average of the age of the population is 29. If you check, compared to UAE, it's 33.5. Means there is a 4 years gap, and this 4 years gap give you, forget a millennial, but now they have the Z generation. They are well connected. KSA is the most connected country in the region. They are #1. Means the investment put into place, by 2030, I think we will have a giant in the room.
That's great, thank you so much. Brother Mohammed, you mentioned the whole idea of creating solutions for the food service. Can you elaborate a bit more in terms of what is needed to win in food service in Saudi Arabia?
If you allow me, just I would like to put some perspective overall. Today, the best estimate, at least we can talk about food business in Saudi equivalent to around $80 billion. Okay? If we look at food service alone, we talk about 20 to 25 billion US dollars. That's 2 years ago. Okay? Now, let's see how the country is transforming. In the last couple of years, the government has established a new ministry, which is tourism, authority for entertainment, ministry of sport overall, ministry of information to make sure that we utilize the area that we have in Saudi that are new overall. We all, or most of us, knows about the Giga project that we are having. Neom, Al-Ula, Al-Qiddiya, King Salman Park, and so on and so on. That will create a new market overall. Looking at the target for the country to reach 100 million tourists by the year 2030. You mentioned 37 million going to Hajj and Umrah overall. And by the way, all the KPI, it starts to be beaten. And if they look at it by all the KPI, every element has been reached, which means the 100 million, it's really difficult, but the probability to achieve it is very high. The 37 Hajj and Umrah, it's very high ambitious. And then for sure, looking at beating all the numbers, that's really likely to happen. And then 100 million, if you just look at the 100 million, one of the biggest destinations of tourism outside is, let's say, last year it was France and Paris. 44 million visited Paris last year. Just imagine, talking about Saudi to have 100 million by 2030. That's really a big number, which means completely created a different market, which means the 80 billion that we talk about it, you can do the math. That, by the way, we're talking about completely different market within for the retail or the food service in general. Now, to touch base on the solution overall, if I am a food service, it's not the same as retail. Retail, the retailer expects every company to come and distribute the product and also merchandise the product. For a food service or a giga project like NEOM and others, I need somebody to give me the whole solution to make sure that I focus on the service rather than I just focus on the supplier or a partner or XYZ. This is what's really been evolved. And I think it will be evolving more when it comes to the retailer in the future. But I would say this is what really we see it evolving. We have opportunities. We have currently, and the opportunity in the future will be much, much bigger. And we believe in Almarai or in the country that the Vision 2030 is helping to create not only a new future for the country, it's a new future for the F&B industry in Saudi.
Thank you, thank you. So we talked about very attractive demographic trends, talked about extremely attractive food service and tourism trends for the food industry. There's even more. So the kingdom intends to attract $20 billion in investment in the food and beverage value chain, starting from agriculture through manufacturing, and has ambitions to triple the exports of Saudi Arabia to over $10 billion a year by 2030. I'd like to ask the experts in the room here and start with Marcos. How is this creating opportunities for food and beverage manufacturers in Saudi Arabia?
Thank you, Ahmed, for the invitation. I'm glad also to be sitting close to my great competitor here. We are together on the shelves, and good to be here with you also. So I think Ahmed asked me to give examples of a company like Tamir, how we are engaging with the vision and how this is transforming our company. So I don't intend here to be just talking about our company, but to give the perspective of how many things are happening and how we are accelerating them. Andrey already took my 20 extra seconds, so I'll try to be fast with that. So I think Tamir is a very good example of the transformation of the Saudi economy, is what is happening in Saudi, and the support of the government for the food sector. I think we have a lot of examples here. I'll try to pass them. First of all, I'd like to mention that one of our beliefs is that we need to collaborate to accelerate. So, and this is a lever, we believe, for the country. We really need to bring external expertise so we can do faster, we can speed up faster. So this is one thing that we believe for our company and for Saudi Arabia. I've been working now in Tamir for 1 year after 23 years in BRF and JBS, and I feel myself in a startup. And I see by hearing Angelo here, I'm not alone on this feeling. So everything, and Mohamed should agree with me, everything that is going on that is very fast. My company since 1962 was established, but the feeling is like you are in a tornado of so many things happening and so many projects and opportunities. And I think these opportunities are for all companies, international, regional players, and for us as well. We have been facing massive growth, just to give you the idea. We are a company that produces sustainable chicken products in the desert. So, and we've been doing this together with great competitors like Almarai, and we have managed to crack on how to produce economically viable chicken in the desert. And this for us has been very important that we align with the Saudi vision of substitution of import or the food security. I think this is very important for us. The broiler self-sufficiency is an agenda that we're really pushing. We aim to almost triple our capacity in the next 3-4 years. So there are massive expansion going on. We were in 2 years ago, we were listed, the first chicken company, exclusively chicken company listed, and we attracted investment from a very big producer, a global producer, US-based Tyson company. So that came and invested in us to accelerate the work with exchange of expertise. In terms of consumers, I agree a lot with Andrey and Yuliia were saying. We started to see post-COVID trends, and we understood that we also had to bring even more health products. So we were the first one to launch the omega-3 enriched product in Saudi Arabia. So this is a very good initiative we did, 1 year of work together with SFDA research to launch. So we are bringing even more healthy products for consumers, and we hope soon also we will be bringing to UAE as well those products. So this is very important. In terms of food service, I really agree with Mohamed said. We starting to see food service clients really understanding the value of the fresh chicken product that can be delivered daily. You don't need to stock and you don't need to wait for that. So daily delivery and the flavor that you have, the experience is very high. So we've been seeing that this growing a lot, and the food service became like a really strong channel for us. Then ESG agenda. I think this is, we are implementing one project, the 1 million tree initiatives. The chicken industry consumes a lot of water, and we need to treat that water, and we irrigate these trees. So this is a way that we are using maximum the resource. So this project is really going on for us. And we are also working, we were the first company to change all our packagings to oxy-biodegradable. So we have a lot of packaging for chicken, we changed for oxy-biodegradable. Just last week, we announced a partnership with MHP, which is one of the biggest European producers, to invest in genetics in the beginning of the value chain, to guarantee that Saudi Arabia has a very high quality chicken. And this is very important because otherwise you don't deliver a very good product for your consumers. So we are not only investing on the commercial part of the broiler production, but in the beginning of the value chain to support the country. So another opportunity to create for international players. We're starting a new processing facility for FPP, also to cater food service clients plus McDonald's. So another thing, that localization of volumes that were not there. We also working, and this is an opportunity for all the company, on a global halal project. We signed a partnership with PIF with halal product development company to export our halal products, or the platform of the Saudi-made trusted halal products. So this is a massive opportunity for many companies to cater for the Muslim communities globally. So we see this as a very good opportunity. And the last point I mentioned here, just not to continue talking so many projects, as Mohamed mentioned about what we are seeing, a very interesting demand from the KSA chains toward fresh chicken. They are understanding the extra experience that they are delivering for consumers. We are the master franchisees of Popeyes, and Popeyes is the only chain that uses 100% Saudi-made chicken in their product. So the experience for consumers changed completely, and the chain is really growing very well. So I think the opportunities are immense. I just try to give you, Ahmed, a little bit of perspective of how many things we are doing and the opportunities that are for everyone, right?
Great. I'd like to hear more about the investment opportunities from both Mohamed Almarai and Yuliia in BRF. How do you see the investment opportunities as part of this program where the government is championing and set a target and actually designated national champions in each sector? How is this affecting your plans for the future in Almarai?
To talk about this, there's two ways to look at it. One is a government agenda to make sure that there is a food security, which is fine. But for us as well, which we need to meet, and we are part of the food security, not only in Saudi, in all GCC, including UAE as well. We are proud of that. But on the other hand, there are opportunities because we are a business people. Does that make sense or does not make sense? That's where we see it. If we go back to Almarai when it's established, it was one dairy farm in the middle of desert. Nobody knows how to deal with the cows. And today, we have the biggest vertical integrated farm in the world. We host more than 180,000 cattle that produce high quality milk overall. But then what Almarai has already foreseen the future, foreseen the opportunities. We expanded in the poultry. That's why we have 250 million bird and we are going for 450. We talk about the juice, the food, the bakery overall, and any element that we are entering, we want to be not only to say, I want to be the market leader. Either the category has a potential, or do I drive and help the other to create the categories, or it's not relevant for us. For all what we have entered, we have really contributed to develop the categories and moving forward. Okay, what have we done in the last couple of years, only a couple of years? We entered into the meat. We already entered the meat processing business, and we are building another factory for that. We are entering for fresh meat as well. We have entered already fish, and we are building our own factory. And we are building our also mega factory in the poultry overall. While we are speaking, the company is investing around $2.5 to $3 billion to expand our facilities and expand our product overall. That's also, we talk about UAE. Currently we have 3 factories in UAE. 2 of them is for the bakery, and the other one in Abu Dhabi producing juices and milk. That's where we have seen it before, we believe on it, and we also looking at for future to continue.
Ahmed, with a competitor like that, I need to work harder, much harder to compete.
I love the terminology in Saudi now, mega, giga, and beyond. Yuliia, what about BRF? How do you see the investment opportunity? We heard a lot about different discussions with the Public Investment Fund and ambitious plans.
Sure. Before, I would like just to go a little bit back, and for us at BRF, Middle East as a region was always a major growth opportunity, and actually the first chicken was exported to Saudi market in 70s, and this really proves the history and the legacies that the company has here in the region, and as well the brand is very beloved by consumers. Then in 2009, we started opening our distributions, and Saudi was the first market where we opened our own distribution. Later on, we continued expanding and building factories. We have 1 factory here in UAE, and now we have 1 big processing factory in Saudi as well that gives us agility to innovate with speed, deliver products that cater to the local taste of consumers. And of course, when it comes to the future, you all probably had read the news. We have a JV established with PIF. We have as well now 10.7% of Salink investing in our company. So definitely, I would say this agenda of growth is our key priority, and we are there to support this agenda.
Great. Thank you very much. It came in the conversations from several panelists, the whole trend of health and wellness. Yet there is this tension with value for money and price and affordability. And perhaps, Yuliia, you can shed some more light on how you're tackling this health and wellness desire by the consumer.
Well, definitely health and wellness is a very important topic. It's a topic that has been growing in terms of the interest. Consumers are more interested, and we can see this from different researches that we do, from the social listening itself. On my point of view, it will be a journey for industries in the region, for the companies in the region, because we are yet in a very different state when compared to US and Europe. Expectations are different from consumers. So I would say if we would focus on the short term, everything that will drive incremental health benefits on the products is the way to go. Marco was mentioning earlier, omega-3 enriched products. When it comes to BRF, all our tasty and convenient products, they are free from artificial ingredients. So everything that drives this incrementality in terms of proposition needs to be done and needs to be communicated and explained to consumers. So this is where as well the brands, they have this very important role. Now, moving to medium to long term, I think we really need to understand what are the key concerns and key tensions that consumers here have in the region, so we can develop meaningful products, meaningful propositions. And here we could tackle different verticals, clean label, free from products, allergen-free, control of size portions, which is quite important in my opinion as well, and of course promote education about balanced and healthy diet, right? And this is where Mohammed was saying companies need to observe what is the healthy eating. So definitely food diversity is a key thing, because this is where you can really deliver the health benefit and a good nutrition to consumers.
Great. Andrey, would you care to comment on this health and wellness?
Yeah, I mean, recently we ran some innovation study, and we actually ask consumers about what kind of attributes matters the most for them when they see the new products and when they make a choice. And guess where the taste was?
Number one, I guess.
It was number 7. Taste is given.
Okay.
But number 1 was, as Yuliia also highlighting, it was about health and well-being. Product can help to protect my health, help my family as well. And organic, everything related to this health and well-being as the part of the attributes are critical and important. And as I mentioned before, can differentiate the products amongst others. But once again, everybody expecting that it would be very, very tasty. It's a given. And if you come in with this parameter as the number 1, I don't think that it will differentiate you now, right? I don't know, like you are more on the manufacturer side.
Great.
You can
Angelo,
maybe comment.
You want to comment on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think all this at the end of the day will link with the plant-based food, okay? Because this is one of the trends that everybody is looking for. But we have to have an holistic approach, not just go category-wise and say I'm looking for a meatless solution. Because at the end of the day, in the MENA region, MEA, okay, 2021, the meatless was for 250 million US dollar. But everybody forget one thing, and I'm sitting with Almarai. The plant-based milk, it's more than 2.5 times more than the meatless solution. And just imagine to have 1 liter of milk plant-based, you just need 2% of almond for 1 liter of almond milk. This is what the industry, they do. But to have a cow milk, you need 9 times the surface of agriculture to just get 1 liter of milk. Then imagine if most of it's a free. If all the dairy company or they create an association where they say, you know what, let's set up a co-op where we will do all our private label on the plant base instead of just investing on your own because it will not work for you. But one co-op, set up one company, plant-based, Almarai, Nadek, Nada, whoever, will just go there, produce a private label. Today in Saudi, plant-based milk is 24 Saudi riyal. In UAE, you are around 15. But 24, when the cost of milk, it's a 6 riyal. 6 to 9 riyal, 1 liter. But the plant-based is 24. Then you will never be able to afford and buy this. But if you produce locally with all the cashew, oats, whatsoever, it will be much more cost-effective. And as I mentioned, the demography in the region are very young. They know already the benefit having a oat milk, cashew milk, whatsoever, and you'll fix the problem of allergen, you'll fix the problem of, we are talking about sustainability. Here you just have water. Yes, water is it's a problem in the region. However, you don't need to feed 9 times the land of a cow, but here you just put water and 2% of milk, nuts. Or you want to upgrade yourself because you can put until 5-10%. If you do it at home, it's a 10 to 25%. Just imagine, okay, everybody will say, yeah, but in the nutrient, we will not get enough protein based on the nuts, etc. Yes, but it's a combo. At the end of the day, to be sustainable, everybody has to do his part of the job. But the real potential today in the dairy, in the plant-based, it's not yet in the meat, less. It's more on the dairy side. And the consumption per capita in the region is very high. But at the same time, it's low because we have lack of milk. Okay.
Yeah, interesting perspective. And there's always a journey in product innovation. And we can see companies like Danone is starting to explore this area and add it to their portfolio. So perhaps Almarai will lead in that as well in introducing new products in the market. Moving on to the retail environment. The Saudi landscape, again, is awash with major investments in retail, either on the digital front, with players like Ninja, Na'na', Jahiz, Hunger Station, or on the bricks and mortar front, where recently the Public Investment Fund purchased a stake in Tamimi supermarkets and is helping them grow and develop. How do we see this affecting the food and beverage industry? And question to you, Angelo, given your role as head of digital transformation at Mohamed Yousuf Naghi.
You know, for example, the retail market itself is under reorganization. When I see PIF investing in Tamimi, remind me when ADQ in Abu Dhabi invest in Lulu for 1 billion and for against expansion in Egypt. But I understand one thing, that PIF they understood clearly, if you're talking about the food safety, food security, you need to master the full value chain. While you invest in the raw material until you have the end consumer. This is the strategy to take stake in a retailer. Because who's the chief transformer of our business? It was COVID. Before COVID, you will never see any sovereign fund invest in retailer. Never. 2020, ADQ invest in Lulu because they understand the value chain. That if you have a black swan, you'll be under stress. PIF understand that if you need to have a full value chain control in case of any pandemic, any black swan, then let's invest on the food retail. And you will see, Lulu announced opening of 100 new store, hypermarket. I'm following what Mohamed was saying, the demography. If you have 100 million tourists, plus you have 40 to 45 million Saudi population in 2030, just when you combine this, there's not enough retailer on the ground. And this is how the strategic investment from the PIF is to invest. Why? Because the private sector sometimes, you know, sometimes you lack of competitiveness. Then when you have a big giant who invest in one of the retailer, you are pushing as well the private sector to invest. And you'll see, I can see, for example, over a year, the customer experience improvement in the store. If you check on the top of your mind, it's, for example, in Carrefour, they bring from the UAE, they bring this customer experience on the store. But one thing is coming. Spinez signing with Allocare, for example. This is show you that everybody are looking for to upgrade the quality of the food, the quality of the customer service, the quality of the sourcing. And the more you'll have the competition, the more everybody will upgrade themselves. And one thing that very important we notice is the high penetration today of the hard discounter. Mm-hmm. The hard discounter reshuffled the whole game because usually you have Bin Daoud fighting with Panda, but they are in the same square. But the hard discounter today, even if the penetration is lower than the modern trade, however, you'll notice that you can get very, very high discount. I have shared with some of you in this room some video that I visited myself. I was impressed because when you get 75% discount on the product, any retailer today in Saudi should be worried. Because the expansion like Bashawat, World of Saudi, there is many players like this in the market, they expand. And one thing, the product is not near expiry. Means in terms of sourcing, they know where to get the product and they will challenge big time the modern trade.
Brilliant. So to summarize what we discussed in terms of why this market is so attractive, you have very favorable demographics. You have a huge expansion in tourism that will multiply the number of visitors to the country. You have a public policy that is supporting investment and aiming to attract $20 billion in the coming 6 years. And you have a massive explosion in investment in retail, which provides the opportunity for food and beverage manufacturers. So we wanted to go to some Q&A. If you have any questions, this is a great opportunity with this panel of experts, and then a final, and then a final remarks from our esteemed panelists. So any questions from the audience about Saudi Arabia?
Seems they are already interested and as well convinced.
I would like to add one thing, Ahmed, if nobody wants to, nobody has a question. Just as I mentioned, the retailer, they're updating themselves. That's why the D2C is improving, the B2C is improving, the B2B is improving. But one thing as well, the route to market for any business or any distributor or any brand has to be reinvented. Because if we upgrade on the front, we don't upgrade on the back, then there will have always a gap. And this gap, you know, will jeopardize the growth. Then I have some people I know here, they are specialized on the route to market, but I invite all companies in Saudi, in the UAE, in the GCC, really to invest on the platform solution, because we have to not shift from off to online, but we have to have this omni-channel approach and really to have the data, the visibility in the market, rather just to work like the last 100 years. Otherwise, the modern trade will fly, and many distributors will vanish because the principal themselves will negotiate straight with the retailer, and the local partner might be squeezed. And at least I've seen some distributor in Saudi, they are going for this digital transformation.
Very good. Final remarks from our panelists, Marco?
Okay. I think my final remarks goes also for the...
There is a question.
Yes, please.
Okay, very good. Angelo, go ahead.
No, as I mentioned, the market, the landscape will be totally different. I've seen already on the retail, I see on the hospitality, I see in the healthcare. When I started, my statement was, it reminded me UAE, Dubai 15 years ago. But it will not take Saudi 15 years to reach, I mean, on 2030, we see there's not 15 years. In 7 years, they have this capability to catch what we are today in UAE. Of course, UAE will still move. We will work for this. However, the whole region will be lifted, and the competition will be there. And I'm sure we'll have some merging acquisition will happen, because we cannot have different tiers of a retailer. But in order to grow, when you have a PIF investing in one company, you can imagine already that potentially there is some merging acquisition will happen on at least at the short or mid-term.
Yeah, but I hope we will not reach the same level of concentration with two retailers having almost 60% of the market. Yeah. Saudi will be a healthier picture with multiple key players, maybe 4 or 5, instead of the level of concentration here in the UAE, which I would say is...
Can I add?
Sure.
Just a little bit on the question which is coming in. If you look at the UAE, the number of stores, year over year, growing. And if you look at the groceries, and I think we discussed it during some of our Connect, going higher and higher every year. And if you look at other countries around the world where traditional trade getting squeezed, because of the different reasons, right? We see that in UAE, it's not happening. Therefore, coming to the Saudi Arabia and the question which is pop up about channels and discounts and so on, I can tell you top 5 retailers in Saudi Arabia have convenience as a part of the agenda. And convenience is not just only about the format, like smaller store. And I know you will bring some examples from the past that we were not successful with this format, like a mini market format. But right now things change. And we see that a lot of the focus going towards to how to be next to the customer, where customer open the door and they see your shop. And I do believe that we will see less hypermarkets and we will see more convenience format. And it will be not only like brick and mortar, but also the development of the e-commerce.
I would like just to add on this, a lot of franchisee probably business. I mean, I would say, when you go to the convenience, you'll see more, because what's happened already in Europe or in the US, for example, even in Far East, that all these convenience stores, over a period of time, you'll have the competition of the big retailer. They will open their own mushroom store, small bin dawood, convenience, because they need to upgrade. Of course, today there is already some bacala with the logo, but tomorrow, this category, this channel will have the competition from the big retail chain. They will go on this small convenience store.
Very good, thank you. Any closing remarks from my
Just a quick one. I think just one last point I mentioned about the importance of the sustainability for Saudi Arabia, because due to the limitation of resources in the region, Saudi Arabia, we need to innovate, and Andrey and Yuliia knows this well, not only on the product side, but also on the sustainable. So we are looking all the points of the value chain, of the supply chain, to be able to put, let's say, innovation and sustainable. So transforming chicken manure in fertilizer, using the water for irrigating trees. So a lot of things like this. Last year, Forbes announced the top 10 most sustainable companies in Saudi Arabia. We were number 3. Almarai was number 1, so we need to really work harder here. But I think this is a very important agenda for all companies, everyone doing business in Saudi Arabia.
Very good. Mohammed, closing remarks?
طيب. And I have two points. Just quickly, we looked at the opportunities, we looked at the possibility to grow overall, but then what are the enablers for new investors? I advise all of us to visit the ministry platform to see the opportunities and the incentive, not only for local, for others. However, there are very important things happening in the country, which is investing in education. And there is a very improvement happening overall. 2015 and 16, Saudi was the 3rd biggest country globally sending students to study abroad, after China and India. Those people already in Saudi working. And then you can imagine those programs continuing overall. We in Almarai, I'm not bragging about the company, but that's true. We have more than 40,000 employees, part of our family. 37% of them are locals across the whole levels. Overall, that shows that all the things that's really possible if we really believe and we. But that's why in Almarai as well we have 60 nationalities. That shows bringing people and adapting and continuing. And we have people staying for 30 years, 40 years overall. That's where you see exactly the manpower, the skills is not an issue. And also the government is helping to make sure that the local as well up to the level and across. Last point I want to say, seeing is believing. Whatever we say, I advise you to visit Saudi. Even if you came last year, I advise you to come again because it is changing as well. And you'll see exactly what is the level of changes and opportunities that would help us and all other players as well.
Thank you, Mohammed. Angelo, 30 seconds. Nothing?
I'm coming from UAE and I moved to Saudi. You are talking about halal. Okay? we have the chairman of Halal here, Mr. Saleh Louta himself. My wish is to have something between Saudi and UAE, where we have this strong collaboration on the halal, because all of us will win by working together. And I know we already working together, but if we work, all of us, we will succeed, because we will be very predominant in this business. I have many friends from Europe. Now their eyes is only in Middle East. Their eyes is in Saudi. Their eyes is in UAE. Then they tell me, Angelo, you made the right move. I say, I don't know if I made the right move, but what I can see from my eyes, I never seen even in Europe. I've lived in Europe for many years. In retail, in distribution, what's happened here in this region is just phenomenal.
Thank you. Yuliia.
Well,
And Jesse is about to kill me, so...
I'll be brief. So first of all, I'm traveling to Saudi next month. So it's already on the list. So what I would like to close in, I know that here there are people from different backgrounds. Technically, we are competitors. But I think to drive this major change in some of the topics, we really need to be partners, right? So if we want to succeed and drive the growth of the country, growth of consumers, we need to partner together and drive this agenda together.
Thank you. Andrey.
Right, I mean, for me, again, I think what is important, there are a lot of the excitement around the Saudi and around the change. It's very dynamic. There are some challenges, discounters here, discounters there. Everybody trying to figure out, like, how to tackle all of those things at the same time. I believe that what is important to define the purpose, why you want to do this or certain of another type of the actions, because headwinds, they're coming from time to time, certainly, but I believe that what is the most important to look at the longer term run, what and where you're going to be. And I think this is a great momentum right now in Saudi Arabia, where you can define your core and your purpose for the next decades.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for my esteemed panelists. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.